There are moments in history that feel almost suspended in time, sacred, eternal seconds that ripple through the ages and leave behind echoes far louder than any speech or sermon. These are the moments when a soul, standing at the threshold between this life and the next, whispers truths that transcend time. And among such rare and powerful moments, one stands out with chilling clarity. The final words of Mother Teresa of Calcutta. To the world, she was a saint in human form, a woman so wholly devoted to the poor, the dying, the untouchable and forgotten, that she became a living symbol of compassion itself. She walked through the streets of Calcutta, cradling the sick in her arms, feeding the abandoned, and offering dignity where the world offered none. But few knew the spiritual torment she carried in silence. Few knew that behind her gentle smile there raged a storm of doubt, darkness, and silence. A silence not from the world, but from the very God she served. In her final moments on earth, surrounded by her sisters in the quiet simplicity of her Missionaries of Charity home, Mother Teresa uttered words that left those present deeply moved, and left the world stunned when they were later revealed. With a frail but steady voice, she whispered, "Jesus, I love you. Jesus, I am coming home." Simple words, but within them, a universe of faith, of pain, of surrender. These were not merely the last breaths of a dying woman. They were the final testimony of a soul that had walked through decades of spiritual darkness and yet had never stopped loving. To understand the true weight of these words, we must look deeper. We must journey into the hidden life of Mother Teresa, the part the world didn't see, because for nearly 50 years she lived what the mystics call the dark night of the soul. In private letters published after her death, she revealed a haunting spiritual struggle. She felt for decades the absence of God. She wrote of the emptiness she felt during prayer, the aching silence when she reached out to Him, and the painful loneliness that lingered even in moments of deep service. "I feel just that terrible pain of loss," she once wrote, "of God not wanting me, of God not being God, of God not really existing." These words shocked even the most devoted believers. How could someone so holy, so close to God in action, feel so far from Him in spirit? And yet that is where her true sanctity begins, because she never gave up. Despite this silence, she kept serving. Despite her internal suffering, she smiled at the dying. Despite her private sense of abandonment, she offered comfort to the abandoned. And when her life reached its final breath, her last words were not of fear, bitterness, or despair. They were a love letter, a whisper of reunion, a final offering of faith. "Jesus, I love you. Jesus, I'm coming home." These words carry an extraordinary message for every soul who has ever felt lost, who has ever prayed and heard nothing in return, who has ever walked through the valley of doubt and felt alone. Mother Teresa. Her final words are not just a reflection of her own faith. They are an invitation to all of us. They say, even in silence, keep loving. Even in darkness, keep walking. Even in doubt, stay faithful. Because the truest form of love is not proven in comfort, but in commitment. Her life was not a tale of spiritual ecstasy, but of extraordinary perseverance. And this is perhaps why her final words strike so deeply into the human spirit. They weren't spoken from a place of spiritual ease. They were forged in fire, in struggle, in decades of not feeling God and yet choosing Him anyway. In a world obsessed with feelings and instant reassurance, Mother Teresa's life and final testimony challenge us to embrace a deeper, more mature faith, one that does not rely on emotion but on conviction. Her love for Christ was not just in her words, it was in her actions, in her quiet endurance, and in the power of her final breath. As we reflect on her last moments, we're called to examine our own spiritual journey. How do we respond when God seems silent? Do we retreat? Do we abandon our calling? Or do we, like Mother Teresa, press on, serving others, loving fiercely and trusting that the silence is not absence, but a deeper kind of presence. In this video, we will walk through the hidden letters of Mother Teresa, explore the theological depth of the dark night of the soul, and look at how her final words echo not just in the walls of her mission in Calcutta, but across the globe, into churches, hearts, and homes of those who struggle to hold on to faith in hard times. Her legacy did not end when she passed from this world. In fact, some say it truly began the moment she whispered her final truth. Jesus, I love you. Jesus, I am coming home. And in that whisper we find not only the soul of a saint, but a roadmap for our own spiritual journey.